All right, folks, gather round, pour yourself a hot cup of Bevril, because we had two top 8 hopefuls. Answer the question. Is the Australian equivalent, can you do it on a cold night in Stoke? Can you do it on a cold night in Tassie? It was slippery footy and goals evidently were optional. What you'll get when you are trying to answer that question is Hawthorn winning 6-11-47 versus 5-14-44 against the Crows. In a game that was ugly, it was chaotic, it was frustrating. And you know what? Maybe the cynic in me finds it bloody brilliant. Both teams wanted to make a statement and have that big win. Instead, we got a gut punch and a team that shows they can win ugly. So here's the $1 million question. Did Hawthorn announce themselves as a genuine finals threat? Now they can win these grindy, gritty games? Or did Adelaide choke away a big moment? Let's break it all down in what was Friday night's Frostbite Fest. Let's talk about the story. Quarter one, the Crows were absolutely dominant, but they couldn't capitalise. Their pressure was elite. Inside 50s were 18-9. Berry was stuck to Newcombe like chewing gum at the end of a school desk. Curtin and Cumming kicked early goals, but 2 goals 3 could have been 5 goals 0. Some very easy miss. Adelaide in the second quarter did it again. Keys kicked a goal, celebrating his 150th in style. Hawthorn managed to get a lucky one out the other end from Gunston. Crows plus 20 possessions, plus 18 inside 50s, but 15 points up. And in today's league, that just shows it's a warning sign. It was like someone really had the game by the scruff of the neck, but Hawthorn, as we've seen often in 2025, teams not put away, they can come back in an instant. Quarter 3, Mitchell worked his magic. Hawthorn scored straight away from the bounce. Cho started to clunk them after being very inefficient in the first half. McDonald snapped. The Hawks got ahead and they lifted across the board. Their pressure was absolutely lightning. At one stage, hitting 216 in pressure. And then quarter 4, it was behind after behind. Chaos football. 13 consecutive behinds across both sides. Absolute woeful kicking. Ranking 4, he'd sparked the Crows into life. But Newcombe went down the other end after a hard day's work and slotted the goal. It felt really, really samey, and literally it was there. Weddle cleaned up a lot of the mistakes, got a grindy 3-point win. Let's look at what happened. The Hawthorns' rebirth at half-time. In the first half, they were very laconic, very standoffish. Second half, they came back. The pressure, like we said, reaching 216. That's a cultural response. Sam Mitchell didn't tweak it. He detonated the Hawks into life. And after being very wasteful in the first quarter, when that pressure comes, Adelaide didn't have enough lead to hold the game. CJ, he injected life on that rebound in the second half. Weddle and Impey were absolutely phenomenal playing at halfback. And Newcombe sliding forward after Berry was literally inside his pockets really changed that dynamic of the game. The functional forward functionality, Cho as that bailout target, was a big, big, big change of the game, allowing the Hawks to spread and also control the footy and creating contests. And with the pressure around the ball, it forced errors. McDonald, Butler, they were very hard inside 50. They were really strong with their tackling. This wasn't just coaching, this was belief, this was effort, and Hawks trusting their system. Without the star powers shining, they have strong role players. Adelaide, the structural breakdown. 6 marks inside 50, 0 in the fourth quarter. When you've got Philthorpe, Fogarty and Walker almost anonymous in that final term, it says it all. There was a real disconnect. They were forced to go into long bombs, no synergy, and the crumbing wasn't there. And then the midfield, it flatlined. They were plus 20 contested, dominating around 7 centre clearance in the first. Second half, lost territory, lost their nerve, lost their control. They played really scared, and it felt like they were set up not to lose. This is a problem that I've seen with Knicks at Adelaide. At times, they go into a contained situation when they haven't even done the work in the first half. Major talking points. The Cho conundrum. This guy is Jekyll and Hyde. In the first half, you could have put me there. I would have probably been more efficient. In the second half, though, he was hungry. He was pivotal in that final 10 minutes. I thought massive intercepts also assisted the match winner and allowed them to really get the spread. It's almost like an AFL porkies, really. When it hits the jackpot, it's great, but most of the time, you just get 2 tomatoes and a lemon. System over stars. No Sicily, no problems. Newcombe tagged into irrelevance in that first half, but the system changed. Impey and Weddle, in my opinion, Weddle is the most underrated footballer in the league at the minute. He is absolutely dominating. And they stick fat and they win ugly. Although this was missing some star names, this is a culture win. Hawthorn just managed to find a way. And this is probably my question of Hawks. They can play sexy football. Can they play grindy football? And they answered the question in Tasmania. Adelaide, same old story. They just can't close a game out at times. It's an honourable loss away from home, but at this stage, we need more. They've had some tough losses this year, Pies, Hawks and Suns, but they are 2-5 versus the current top 8 teams. And that is a real worry. The Crows are looking like they can beat teams on their own turn. When it gets a little bit hard, though, they feel like they go way too safe. And that leads us into our next point. Are they a conservative side? They kick sideways instead of going forward. They don't adjust their forward line. When you've got 3 toes like that, you could do what Hawthorn did and play one a little bit higher up the ground to give you an outlet. Berry dominated early, but then when Newcombe shifted, it made it very easy and that tag kind of disappeared. And they refuse to risk chaos at times. They try and manage their way through wins, where I think their best football is when they are chaotic and when they're playing Route 1 football. Finals aren't for safe teams, they're for brave ones. And Adelaide at the minute are either accountants or assassins. And that's something they've got to look at. When we go into the stats, let's have a look at that. We can always learn quite a lot from these avenues. The stats inside 50s, again, them dominating 59-52. The contested possessions, again, in the Crows' favour. Then you look at the marks inside 50. Again, both sides just breaking even. Disposal efficiency, nothing really in it. But this is where it comes down to it. The Clangers, 84-65. This was where the pressure was won. That is really struggling. And if you want a better start, 1 goal, 7 after half-time, that is a poor output from a side that did win the inside 50 count and did win the ball at the clutches. Adelaide have got to sort this out. You've got to turn these numbers into real scoreboard pressure. Let's look at some discussion points. Is Cho AFL's most confusing talent? He's either brilliant or anonymous. Should Adelaide really look to play more aggressive football? Sam Mitchell, how much influence did he have on that second half? They really did it. And Dan Curtin, is he finding his foray at that half-forward wing role? Let me know who gets your 3-2-1. Is this a kickstart for Hawthorn? A lot of questions being asked, but they've won it groundly. And where does this leave Crows, in your opinion? I still think they're a premiership threat, but they've got to learn to play more aggressive. Thank you very much. There you have it. The ice at UTAS Stadium did come under fire. Hawthorn found a way. Adelaide, they will leave that with regret. Big credit, though, to Sam Mitchell's men. They find a way full of heart. Meanwhile, Adelaide, still exceptional, but they need to find their core identity when the chips are down. Before you go, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe if you love these deep dives. Drop your thoughts into the comments below. I always read every single one. I've been PommyInOz. You've been fantastic. See you soon. Stay warm, stay sharp. Pom out.